Have you ever wondered how someone in a seemingly insignificant and morally questionable position could become a key figure in a grand narrative? What drives a person to risk everything for strangers? How might a person's actions, driven by faith and courage, change the course of history? The story of Rahab in the Bible, particularly found in the book of Joshua, offers a powerful exploration of these questions. Rahab was a resident of Jericho, a city marked for destruction by the advancing Israelites. Rahab had always made the most of what she had, even resorting to prostitution to provide for those she cared about. Despite the judgment of others, she did what was necessary to survive. Living on the edge of society in Jericho's red light district, her house was built into the city's outermost wall, making it vulnerable to attack. Her life changed when two Israelite spies sought refuge in her inn. Knowing Jericho feared the Israelites and their God, Yahweh, Rahab saw an opportunity for salvation. She hid the spies, lied to the king's guards to protect them, and in return, the spies promised to spare her and her family when Jericho fell. Despite her profession as a prostitute, she recognized the power and destiny of the Israelites and chose to protect their spies. Her actions not only secured her own future, but also demonstrated a profound faith that would be remembered throughout history. Rahab's story demonstrates that God's grace and redemption extend beyond the Israelites to include Gentiles. Today, in this episode, we will thoroughly explore the story of Rahab. Meanwhile, give us a few seconds to thank everyone who has subscribed, liked, and shared our videos. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and hit the notification bell to stay updated and help us grow even more. Now, let's begin. The story of Rahab takes place during the Israelite conquest of Canaan, as narrated in the book of Joshua. Jericho was a significant fortified city standing in the way of the Israelites as they sought to enter the Promised Land. After the death of Moses, Joshua became the leader of the Israelites. His task was to lead them into the Promised Land, starting with the conquest of Canaan. Jericho, a well-fortified city, was a significant strategic objective. Joshua sent two spies to secretly explore the land of Canaan, especially Jericho, as stated in Joshua 2 verse 1. Then Joshua son of Nun secretly sent two spies from Shittim. "Go, look over the land," he said, "especially Jericho." So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. This verse introduces Rahab, a key figure in the story. Despite her profession, Rahab played a significant role in the Israelite victory and demonstrated great faith in the God of Israel. Her house became the starting point of a divine plan. Sending spies was a strategic move by Joshua to gather crucial information about Jericho's defenses, the morale of its people, and the layout of the city. This intelligence was vital for planning a successful attack. The spies entered Jericho and chose to stay at Rahab's house. Rahab's house was likely a place where travelers could lodge without attracting too much attention, making it an ideal location for the spies to gather information and remain undetected. Rahab's profession as a prostitute might also mean that her home saw many visitors, providing a cover for the spies' presence. When the king of Jericho learned that Israelite spies had come to the city, he sent orders to Rahab to bring out the men. Rahab, however, chose to hide the spies on her roof under stalks of flax. She told the king's men that the spies had indeed visited her, but she did not know where they were from and that they had left at dusk when it was time to close the city gate. She directed them to pursue the spies quickly, suggesting they might overtake them. Rahab is depicted as a clever and strategic individual who courageously misled the king's men to protect the Israelite spies. Her actions demonstrated significant personal risk, revealing her bravery. After sending the king's men on a false trail, Rahab went to the spies on her roof. She confessed her belief in the God of Israel, acknowledging that the Lord had given the land to the Israelites and that the fear of them had fallen on the people of Jericho. She cited the miraculous crossing of the Red Sea and the victories over the Amorite kings as evidence of God's power. This incident, where Rahab confesses her belief in the God of Israel and acknowledges his power, is found in Joshua 2 verses 8 to 11. Before the spies lay down for the night, she went up on the roof and said to them, "I know that the Lord has given you this land, and that a great fear of you has fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. When we heard of it, our hearts melted in fear, and everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below." Rahab then made a pact with the spies. She requested that in return for her kindness, they spare her and her family when they conquered Jericho. The spies agreed, giving her a scarlet cord to tie in her window as a sign. They instructed her to bring her family into her house, as anyone outside would not be protected. They promised her safety as long as she did not betray their mission. Now the men had said to her, "This oath you made us swear will not be binding on us unless, when we enter the land, you have tied this scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down, and unless you have brought your father and mother, your brothers and all your family into your house. If any of them go outside your house into the street, their blood will be on their own heads. We will not be responsible. As for those who are in the house with you, their blood will be on our head if a hand is laid on them. But if you tell what we are doing, we will be released from the oath you made us swear." Joshua 2 verses 17 to 20. The spies escaped by climbing down a rope from Rahab's window. They returned to Joshua and reported everything that had happened. When the Israelites eventually attacked Jericho, they followed God's command to march around the city for 7 days. On the 7th day, the walls of Jericho fell, and the city was taken. True to their promise, the Israelites spared Rahab and her family. They brought them out and placed them outside the Israelite camp for safety. Rahab and her family were integrated into the Israelite community, and she lived among them for the rest of her life. Joshua 6, verses 22 to 25, state, "Joshua said to the 2 men who had spied out the land, 'Go into the prostitute's house and bring her out, and all who belong to her, in accordance with your oath to her.' So the young men who had done the spying went in and brought out Rahab, her father and mother, her brothers and sisters, and all who belonged to her. They brought her entire family out and put them in a place outside the camp of Israel. Then they burned the whole city and everything in it. But they put the silver and gold and the articles of bronze and iron into the treasury of the Lord's house. But Joshua spared Rahab the prostitute with her family and all who belonged to her, because she hid the men Joshua had sent as spies to Jericho, and she lives among the Israelites to this day." Therefore, Rahab's story highlights her remarkable faith and courage, which led to her salvation and integration into the Israelite community. Rahab was aware of the broader political and spiritual implications of the Israelites' actions. She observed the fear that had fallen on the people of Jericho and connected it to the works of the God of Israel. Her actions to protect the spies and secure a promise for her family's safety show her resourcefulness and protective nature. Rahab negotiated wisely to ensure her and her family's survival. Her legacy is commemorated in the biblical narrative as a symbol of redemption and divine grace. Overall, Rahab is depicted as a complex character who combines intelligence, courage, faith, and a strong protective instinct for her family. And that concludes today's episode. We sincerely appreciate your presence. If you enjoyed our content, please consider hitting the like button, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to our channel. Thank you for your support.